Welcome back to Midco Sports tonight. Well, we just got you caught up to speed on the holiday happenings from the hardwood. Lots of alliteration there. But now to talk a little bit more about Summit League hoops, Tom Neiman is here.
Stuart, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year 2018. All right, Tom. So some teams haven't even played their first league games. Some teams have already played two.
Yes.
But of the teams, I guess you could say, that have played, who's looking good so far?
Who do you think for the women right now?
Well, I got to say, the Yotes.
South Dakota. South Dakota's women are 2-0. They're one of those 2-0 teams. They beat Denver, beat North Dakota State last night, so a good start for the Coyotes. But Western Illinois is the team we keep coming back to on the women's side. They have been great. Beat Fort Wayne by 36 in their Summit League opener. Emily Clemens had 28 points, 11 assists in that game. She's averaging 8 assists per game. Gets to the free throw line a lot, and they just keep on beating people. They have Higginbotham and Bloomer along with Clemens. That's literally, seriously, 3 Player of the Year candidates in those 3 players, all averaging 15 points a game at least. Western had that win at Stanford a couple of weeks ago that is the best win, I think, in the Summer League for the women so far. Looks like the Leathernecks are the favorites. Just don't tell South Dakota State that right now. But it's going to be a good race between USD and Western Illinois and South Dakota State. As for the men, Stuart, you got South Dakota, and you got South Dakota State and North Dakota State. They're all up there in the Sagarin ratings right now. But Oral Roberts has been sneaky good, which is weird to say about a team that only has 5 wins right now. But they played a brutal pre-conference schedule at Oklahoma State, at Kansas State, at UNLV, at Arkansas. They were all over the place, but they did beat Missouri State. They pounded Omaha in their Summer League opener. They have 3 really good big guys you've seen here, Nezaquazi and Albert Owens and Javen White. And it's going to be interesting to see how Oral Roberts does in the first couple of weeks of the season, because you can't really tell when they get beat up by those Power 5 teams, but I think they're going to be decent once we get into Summer League play.
Yeah, a little chip on their shoulder missing the tournament last year, so we'll see what happens with them. Summit League play, the tournament's going to be here before we know it.
I know.
Already January, already the Summit League, but we talked about the teams. Let's talk about the players. Of course, we know the big names, the Allison Arns, Macy Miller, Clemens, Mike Daw, Matt Mooney, but surprise players this year, Tom. Who do you have?
I think you have to say there's a kid at Western Illinois, he's a freshman, Kobe Webster, who's top 10 in scoring right now. He leads the Summit League in assists. So you got Webster, but he's a freshman who's a newcomer. But I think, Stuart, as far as players that are back from last year that have been a surprise this year, and you agree with this one totally, Tyler Hagedorn at South Dakota. 5 points, 3 rebounds a game last year in limited minutes. He's getting about 10 more minutes a game this year, and he's more than tripled his scoring and doubled his rebounding. He's scoring 14 points a game right behind Matt Mooney for South Dakota. And I don't know if Craig Smith and his coaches saw it coming, but Hagedorn has definitely stepped up and been a big surprise for USD so far this year. And for the women, maybe not a surprise, but this is more of a pleasant affirmation, I think, of what they thought they were going to get at South Dakota State from Maya Sellen, who's a true freshman, averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds a game right now. They have needed her to be good, and she has been. They give her a lot of freedom, gets a lot of shots. She was great against Louisville, had 14 points and 7 rebounds in that loss. But again, not really a surprise, but a little bit of a surprise that you're a true freshman if you come in and be a big impact player like that, because you get to the Summit League no matter where you come from. It's a change, isn't it?
Yeah, and I remember Maya Sellen coming to different camps like USD, SDSU, and she was obviously a top player in these camps, but you look at her small high school, it's like, how is she going to adjust to Division I play? But she stepped right in.
And they knew she was going to be pretty good this year, but I think even the coaches at South Dakota State are a little bit surprised at what she's been able to do so far. Yeah,
she's definitely exceeding those expectations. Well, looking ahead, lots of big games in the Summit League. Jay and I talk about this, but it's like every day you really have to bring your best. What are some of the big games you are looking for?
It's almost, as you say, it's almost every game once we get into the conference season. For the women, tomorrow night, South Dakota is at Western Illinois. And the question is USD a contender? We should find out a little bit in this game. Western Illinois, meanwhile, is averaging 89 points a game at home, and that includes a loss to Milwaukee, where they only scored 67 points. But they have been unbelievable. If South Dakota can hold them to under 80 points, they might have a chance, and it might be the first big upset of the season on the women's side. For the men, on their schedule as we get going here in January, look no further than tonight. You got Western Illinois at South Dakota. That's going to be very interesting down in Vermilion. And in Fargo, North Dakota State hosting South Dakota State. The Bison beat the Jacks twice last year, including by 17 in this game in Fargo. With Dexter Werner gone, what do they do against Mike Dahm? And can A.J. Jacobson right here do what he did last year when he had 26 points and 12 rebounds against the Jackrabbits. And again, they swept South Dakota State last year. This can be a great matchup in Fargo tonight, and we've got that game on live, and we've got the women's game in Brookings with South Dakota State's women hosting Omaha. Both those games live tonight.
Lots of great games coming up. And then Saturday, USD and NDSU. Yeah. I am excited for that one because NDSU stole one from the Yotes last year on their home floor.
Yeah,
so
yeah. The men's schedule gets really good early, especially with that game at Fargo tonight, and then North Dakota State at Vermillion on Saturday.
All right, well, our Summit League update. Great stuff.
Thanks,
Thank you, Tom. All right, coming up after the break, we will send it up to Grand Forks with Alex Heiner, who sits down with UND women's basketball head coach Travis Brewster. Stay tuned.